Beneath the silent veil of the cosmos planet, Xianxia trembled not from the passage of time, nor from the drift of stars, but from the fury of a god-devouring beast whose spine was being torn from its flesh. And at the heart of that apocalypse stood a lone cultivator, eyes blazing like twin bolts of heavenly thunder, daring to steal the backbone of an ancient terror. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Wang Lin lightly slapped his bag of holding, and in a shimmer of spatial ripples, a great number of celestial ascension fruits spilled forth into the air. They glowed with a faint sacred radiance. He stood with calm composure, his gaze resting upon the thunderbeast that writhed beneath the entangling tentacles. It no longer dared to roar. Only a low, suppressed rumble escaped its throat, filled with reluctant submission. With a casual wave of his right hand, the fruits burst apart mid-air. Their flesh dissolved into streams of fragrant juice, which, refined by the rotation of his origin energy, transformed into a drifting crimson mist. Wang Lin stepped forward, the red haze following him like obedient spirits. In a single breath, he appeared beside the trapped thunderbeast and pressed his palm down mercilessly. Sharp, cracking sounds rang out crisp and chilling as the red mist spread over the beast's massive form. Wherever it touched, the tentacles quivered. Their grip slackened, and their dark hue slowly bled into a sinister crimson. Seizing the fleeting moment of weakness, the thunderbeast erupted in blinding thunder. Lightning coiled around its body, compressing its colossal frame until it shrank, reshaping into the god-slaying war chariot. With a thunderous surge, it broke free and shot outward. Wang Lin extended his left hand, and with a single motion retrieved the chariot into his bag of holding. It was clear the thunderbeast had been shaken to its core. Once unwilling to return to confinement, it now yielded without resistance. After securing it, Wang Lin resumed his silent advance. Wherever he went, crimson mist would descend temporarily, enfeebling the tentacles. Then, with precise control, he sealed droplets of the fruit's juice deep at their roots. Again and again he repeated this process, tireless and methodical. Fortunately, he possessed far more celestial ascension fruits than he had anticipated needing. Otherwise, his supply would have long since run dry. Throughout the journey, Wang Lin moved with utmost caution. His senses remained stretched taut, vigilant against the slightest anomaly. Several days passed before he finally infused the essence of the celestial ascension fruits into the majority of the planet's tentacles. Roughly 70 to 80% of this moon-gazer serpent's tentacles now contain sealed fruit essence. The moment I activate the restrictions, the seals will collapse. His eyes narrowed slightly. A pity. The fruits are exhausted. Had every single tentacle been affected, perfection would have been within reach. He pondered briefly, then dismissed the thought of departing to search for more fruits. This place was too strange, too unpredictable. He feared that should he leave and return, unforeseen changes might render all his preparations meaningless. If the moon-gazer serpent were to truly awaken, the celestial ascension fruits would become no more than worthless offerings. A sharp light flickered within Wang Lin's eyes. His body sank into the earth. Beneath the surface, the soil was saturated with a viscous, murky liquid that clung like decay. Wang Lin circulated celestial spiritual energy through his body, forcing the foul substance away as he descended. Without hesitation, he plunged toward the metal vein buried deep below the bone of the moon-gazer serpent itself. After some time, his eyes gleamed faintly. He paused and surveyed his surroundings. Subtle fluctuations of celestial spiritual energy lingered within the surrounding dirt. The energy was trapped inside the viscous liquid, like starlight imprisoned in mire. Wang Lin distinctly remembered that when he had last been here, the liquid had been dull and devoid of any trace of celestial aura. It seems that within the past 100 years, someone came here, he murmured inwardly. They ventured deep into the moon-gazer serpent and unleashed a powerful spell. That is why celestial spiritual energy remains imprisoned in the soil, and why the serpent is slowly transitioning from its second form to its third. His thoughts turned somber as he continued downward. After an indeterminate span of time, he arrived at the metal vein, the serpent's colossal bone. A flame ignited in his palm, casting flickering light across the vast skeletal structure. The darkness retreated, revealing the bone's cold metallic sheen. Wang Lin's eyes shone with intent. This was the true purpose of his descent. He placed his right hand upon the bone, preparing to absorb it, yet abruptly halted. His expression hardened as contemplation seized him. To force the moon-gazer serpent into changing states, such cultivation is beyond ordinary measure. His gaze darkened. If that person is already dead, then it matters not. But if he yet hides within these depths, or remains trapped here, his hand slowly withdrew. If I seize the bone and release the celestial ascension fruits, it is highly likely that he will reveal himself. And should that occur, the variables multiply. After a brief silence, Wang Lin chose caution over haste. He began flying along the bone, intent on searching the surroundings thoroughly for any hidden cultivator. When Wang Lin needed to be cautious, he was cautious to the extreme. Especially now when a single misstep could mean death, he could not afford negligence. Removing the bone from the moon-gazer serpent's body, this may well be one of the 3 most perilous moments of my life. His eyes gleamed with cold clarity. In the land of the ancient god, he had survived through wit. In the celestial realm, through caution. In the demon spirit land, through unwavering resolve. Now he would rely on all 3. Following the bone's length, he advanced steadily. After a long while, he suddenly stopped. Before him lay a massive fissure carved into the bone. A thick layer of dried mucus covered it, hardened by the passage of ages. The crack ran deep, though not enough to sever the bone entirely. Wang Lin clearly remembered that this wound had not existed during his last visit. He approached with utmost care and examined it closely. His expression grew solemn. No wonder the moon-gazer serpent is advancing into its 3rd form. The agony from such an injury is enough to drive it into a frenzy. A faint sneer curved his lips. The one who inflicted this wound clearly knew nothing of the moon-gazer serpent, or they would never have dared. He moved to pass it, then abruptly halted, a faint unease stirring within him. After a moment's contemplation, he returned. His gaze traced the lines of dried mucus. Time passed in silence. Suddenly his eyes shone brilliantly. With a sweep of his hand, celestial spiritual energy surged forth, forming a celestial wind. The dried mucus dissolved instantly, revealing the true depth of the fissure. Within its depths stood a mountain. Previously concealed by the mucus and nearly fused with the bone, it had been indistinguishable. Only now did its presence fully reveal itself. When Wang Lin had moved earlier, he had sensed an unusual density of celestial spiritual energy in this region. The source had been this very fissure. Staring at the mountain, melded with the serpent's bone, the light in Wang Lin's eyes shifted into something profound and dangerous. Greed, he muttered grimly. He recognized this mountain. It was the treasure greed had once produced, the mountain from which he had extracted its soul. So they truly pursued me. His earlier urgency vanished, replaced by cold calculation. I wonder, did they all come? Or only a few? Or merely greed himself? Rubbing his chin thoughtfully, Wang Lin stepped into the fissure. The inner walls of bone were jagged and uneven. Veins of metal ore glowed with a faint red radiance, casting an eerie, magnificent light. The 7-star sword formation has been swallowed by the tentacles. I know not where it lies. But this mountain, I cannot abandon it. With greed, status, and temperament, his treasures are never ordinary. A strange glimmer surfaced in his eyes. The mountain's edges had fused deeply with the bone. Flame metal shimmered faintly within. The assimilation is thorough. This will not be simple, and I cannot deploy the celestial ascension fruits now. He formed a sword with 2 fingers and tested the mountain's hardness. Even infused with celestial spiritual energy, his strike left no trace. His eyes brightened. Channeling a strand of Ling Tianhao's sword energy into his fingers, he abandoned the thought of extracting it whole. Instead, he carefully circled the fused region and slashed downward. A silent crack formed, spreading slowly. With a soft fracture, One side of the mountain separated cleanly from the serpent's bone. His choice of position had been masterful, avoiding the fused portions entirely, leaving the moon-gazer serpent undisturbed. Moving to the other side, he proceeded with even greater care. This side had fused more deeply. His fingers traced delicate arcs, slowly isolating the remaining connections. Just as he was about to fully extract the mountain, a bone-chilling coldness surged up his spine. His scalp tingled. He dared not extend his divine sense. It felt as though he stood blindfolded beneath a blade poised between his brows. The sensation intensified. Wang Lin's eyes turned icy. With his right hand, he seized the extracted portion of the mountain. In the same instant, he shot upward while his left hand pointed behind him. Stop! The spell erupted in an instant. No hesitation, no delay. A furious roar exploded from behind. Clutching the mountain, Wang Lin shot through the earth like a streak of lightning. Without pause, he cast an escape spell taught to him by the old man. As he burst free, his divine sense expanded, and what he saw filled him with dread. A smaller, moon-gazer serpent, its body extending 100 feet above the soil, while the rest remained buried, thrashed violently beneath the restraint of the stop spell. The precious instant granted by the spell was all Wang Lin required. By the time the serpent broke free, its eyes were bloodshot with fury. It roared once, then vanished back beneath the earth. Far away, Wang Lin sped through the soil at terrifying speed. The encounter left his heart heavy. How many moon-gazer serpents exist in this place? His expression darkened. What unsettled him most was not its strength, but its silence. It had approached without a trace beyond even his awareness. Such a thing had not occurred to him in many years. That serpent, it has already reached its third form. Damn that greed, what exactly did he do? Simply embedding the mountain into the bone could not have caused this. Wang Lin suddenly halted mid-flight. A dreadful possibility surfaced in his mind. His face grew even more somber. Could it be? Within the fragmented memories of ancient God to see, there existed mention of something hidden deep inside the moon-gazer serpent, the moonflower. It was a thing of supreme poison. In all the heavens and myriad realms, nothing could dispel its venom save the blood of an ancient god. Its true terror, however, revealed itself only upon the serpent's death. The instant the moon-gazer serpent perished, the moonflower would awaken. It would cause the colossal body of the serpent to swell like a grotesque balloon, expanding without limit until at the peak of distortion it exploded. The detonation would annihilate everything within the star system. Everything, save ancient gods. The larger the moon-gazer serpent, the more catastrophic the blast. This was why no one had ever found the remains of a fallen moon-gazer serpent. The moonflower was what these beasts treasured above all else. Should anything threaten it, the serpent would descend into absolute madness, eradicating every perceived danger without hesitation. I once heard that greed never sets foot in a place unless treasure awaits him. Wang Lin murmured, his face darkening. Could it be he mistook the moonflower for some supreme treasure? In Tu Si's memories, the moonflower could not be removed. The moment it left the serpent's body, it would detonate instantly. If that is the case, Wang Lin's scalp prickled. An explosion from a moon-gazer serpent of this magnitude could obliterate more than half of the northern domain. Under normal circumstances, if left undisturbed, a moon-gazer serpent would never die. Even after endless years, it would merely linger in its second form until natural death arrived, a process that itself required an inconceivably long span of time. Even if a cultivator discovered it, its strength alone would make it impossible to seize the moonflower. Any such attempt would be nothing short of suicide. If greed seeks death, that is his affair. It has nothing to do with me. Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly as he continued his search. Time flowed like silent water. He combed through nearly every region of the moon-gazer serpent's body, save for several areas that remained inaccessible. Throughout this process, no other moon-gazer serpents appeared. If he was not killed outright, then he must have been swallowed. Wang Lin's gaze grew contemplative. Everything devoured by the moon-gazer serpent eventually gathers at the convergence point of absorption and excretion. I must inspect that place. The moon-gazer serpent possessed its own internal circulation. Its waste was never expelled to the outside world. Instead, it was reabsorbed, refined into nourishment for its vast body. Several days later, Wang Lin cautiously arrived near the region where absorption and excretion converged. The soil there reeked with a nauseating stench, thick and oppressive. He frowned but did not venture too deeply. Instead, he circled the perimeter, extending his divine sense with careful restraint. Suddenly, a faint transmission of divine sense echoed from within. "Is there a fellow cultivator outside? Save me, and there will be great rewards." Wang Lin's eyes narrowed instantly. He knew that voice. It was greed. "Fellow cultivator, save me. I possess countless treasures. Rescue me, and they shall all be yours." Deep within that vile convergence zone, greed's once robust body had withered to skin and bone. Over the past 100 years, he had sacrificed flesh-blood essence and celestial spiritual energy in order to resist the relentless absorption force of this place. Had it not been for the mysterious furnace in his possession, he would have long ago dissolved into nothingness. Back then, he had sensed a treasure here, an intuition as powerful as the one that had once led him to the furnace itself. Temptation consumed him, and he ventured inward. Planet Xianxia had appeared tranquil. Step by step, he advanced toward the source of that alluring aura. The treasure he sought was none other than the moonflower. Along the way, he had encountered the metal vein, the serpent's bone. Greed, ever avaricious, hesitated only briefly before stabbing the celestial mountain into it, intending to pry off vast sections in one go. The pain he inflicted, however, was catastrophic. The moon-gazer serpent awakened. Had he not summoned the furnace in time, he would have perished instantly. Terrified greed concealed himself for years, waiting for the serpent's fury to subside. He no longer dared entertain thoughts of the metal vein, and pressed onward toward the treasure he sensed. Even then, he knew something was amiss. His original plan had been simple: take a glance. If it was easy to seize, he would do so. If not, he would withdraw immediately. His lifelong instincts as a treasure seeker guided him safely to the moonflower. The moment he saw it, he sucked in a cold breath. Though ignorant of its true nature, he could sense within it a destructive force so terrifying that even Ling Tianhao might be annihilated by it. Greed overcame caution. He reached out. The instant his fingers brushed the moonflower, the entire planet seemed to awaken in fury. The moon-gazer serpent began transforming into its third form. In that fleeting instant, greed managed only to split a fragment of divine sense into the moonflower before an enormous maw descended and swallowed him whole. He reappeared in this foul convergence zone. Through analysis, he realized the horrifying truth: this planet was a colossal beast. Shaken to his core, he abandoned all thoughts of treasure and attempted to flee. Relying on the furnace's mysterious power, he shifted positions countless times, desperately escaping. Yet each attempt ended the same way: he was caught, swallowed, and returned to this place. After the final attempt, the surrounding tentacles wrapped around the furnace itself, as though draining its power. The furnace lost its miraculous effect. With greed's intelligence, it did not take long to deduce that this was the serpent's absorption and excretion region. What he could not understand was why the beast did not kill him outright, but instead repeatedly returned him here. For 100 years he endured, and now for the first time he sensed someone outside. His excitement bordered on madness. "Fellow cultivator, save me. This old man swears upon his Tao there will be boundless rewards." Outside, Wang Lin remained silent. He turned and walked away. He understood clearly: with his current cultivation, entering would be easy. Leaving would not. The fact that greed had been trapped for a century without rescue proved that no other cultivator from the Alliance star system had ventured here. Greed had come alone. Once Wang Lin realized this, all hesitation vanished. If he wasted time bargaining, he would no longer be Wang Lin. Without a trace of hesitation, he departed. Greed's promises of treasure stirred not even a ripple in his heart. What was destined for him he would obtain in due course. What was not his he would not covet. To do otherwise would be to squander the more than 900 years he had clawed his way through cultivation. It was for this very reason that during his previous visit, he had retreated until he gathered sufficient celestial ascension fruits. Like a silent wind, Wang Lin traversed the soil. After an unknown stretch of time, he returned to the fissure within the bone. He observed carefully for a long while, ensuring no other moongazer serpent lurked nearby. Only then did he sit in lotus position and expel a breath of turbid air. He remained motionless. The celestial guard emerged vigilant, scanning the surroundings. After his earlier brush with death, Wang Lin dared not gamble. His hands formed seals. In that instant, the countless restrictions he had placed within the tentacles collapsed. From high above, one would have seen it clearly. The innumerable tentacles blanketing planet Xianxia trembled violently. At their roots, a brilliant crimson radiance erupted. Freed from their seals, the celestial ascension fruit liquid was released in unison. A single dose would have been like a drop in the ocean, no more than a mosquito's bite. Even successive doses spaced apart would pose little threat. The moongazer serpent's body possessed its own methods of purification, but now, the majority of its tentacles absorbed the liquid simultaneously. It was no longer a drop. It was a storm. The tentacles ceased their swaying and began to tremble. The power of the celestial ascension fruits surged forth with unstoppable momentum. From the roots, the mysterious force flowed inward like 100 streams forming a brook. 1,000 brooks forming a river, 10,000 rivers merging into an ocean. An ocean of celestial force spread through the serpent's colossal body. The ground convulsed violently. From the depths of the earth arose a pulse, an aura of exhilaration, so intense it bordered on ecstasy. The tentacles lost their aggression and swayed drunkenly as though intoxicated by divine nectar. Had Wang Lin lacked sufficient cultivation or the experience of extracting a planet's soul alongside the scattered devil, he would have felt only tremors. But he sensed more. He felt the moongazer serpent's soul, rejoicing. Wang Lin's eyes shone. Without hesitation, he spread his arms and pressed his palms against both sides of the split bone, as if merging himself with it. The third ability of the underworld river, power of the underworld. The river manifested. It split along his arms and surged forth like twin ferocious dragons, racing along the bone and enveloping it completely. Bone extraction. A terrifying suction force erupted from the underworld river. This ability had been born from enlightenment within the tide abyss of the demon spirit land, an insight gained when he comprehended the invisible force created by the intersection of two star systems. Its might grew alongside his Tao. Now wielded with late-stage ascendant cultivation, its power was enough to shake the entire planet. Even the surrounding fog trembled. From deep beneath the earth, ancient muffled roars echoed outward, vast primordial, resonating across immeasurable distance. Upon planet Yun, Xia Wang Lin sat cross-legged, his figure still as an ancient pine rooted upon a cliff. Yet within his eyes burned a brilliance fierce as twin stars. The power of the underworld river coiled around the two severed sections of bone. Under its influence, the bones no longer resembled lifeless remains, they quivered as though infused with vitality. A burst of golden radiance erupted, and the trembling intensified. It was not merely the fractured portion that shook. The entire skeletal vein shuddered violently. It was as though an unseen colossal hand had seized a creature's spine and shaken it without mercy, causing every limb and sinew to convulse in agony. At this moment, the moongazer serpent was that creature. The planet trembled. Mountains quaked. The earth buckled and cracked. The region surrounding Wang Lin convulsed with destructive force, yet he remained unmoving, firm, immovable, as though the chaos of heaven and earth could not displace him by even half a step. Agony spread through the colossal body of the moongazer serpent. However, the vast infusion of celestial ascension fruit dulled that pain, distorting it through some mysterious transformation into a frenzied, intoxicating exhilaration. Across the planet's surface, countless tentacles exhaled thick streams of crimson mist. They writhed violently, and from deep within the earth came muffled roars, ancient and wrathful. The tentacles stretched outward in madness, their original 1,000-foot lengths multiplied several-fold, extending like an eruption of living spears. From the vastness of space, planet Xianxia now resembled a monstrous sea urchin, bristling, grotesque, alive. Deep underground, Wang Lin's gaze sharpened further. An endless suction force surged from his arms, flowing into the twin sections of bone. That force was like an invisible blade severing the bond between bone and flesh. The moon-gazer serpent convulsed more violently. Cracks spidered across the planetary surface. Vast chunks of earth tore free and drifted upward. From space, it would appear as though continents themselves were peeling away, rising silently into the void, like the shell of a titanic egg splitting and falling apart. As layers of soil shed away, an ancient aura seeped forth from within the planet, primordial savage. It felt as though a beast slumbering for countless eras was stirring toward wakefulness. The vibrations intensified. More crimson mist poured forth, blending with the surrounding fog to form a dense cocoon encasing the planet. Within the depths, Wang Lin's pupils gleamed with piercing light. The tremors reached a new height. A suffocating sense of crisis pressed in from all directions. In that instant, Wang Lin rose. He moved with the speed of lightning. Thunderous might gathered within his eyes as he appeared beside the left section of bone. Both hands seized it firmly. Rise! His roar exploded like heavenly thunder, expending nearly all his strength in exchange for a surge of overwhelming power. Veins bulged along his arms, glowing runes flickering beneath his skin as celestial spiritual energy circulated to its utmost limit. Madness flickered in his gaze, but beneath that madness lay absolute clarity. Rise for me, he pulled again. The earth convulsed. Painful roars echoed through the planetary core. Yet under the intoxicating influence of the celestial ascension fruits, the moon-gazer serpent could not discern the true source of its torment. Wang Lin's body tightened like a drawn bowstring. He pulled once more. The bone shifted. 3 inches. 3 inches were enough. Even a single inch would have been enough. Without hesitation, Wang Lin unleashed every thread of celestial spiritual energy within him. The ground roared as the bone stretching for countless kilometers began to move. 7 inches. Then 3 feet. 6. 10. 100 feet. The grinding friction between bone and flesh produced a sound that seemed to scrape against the soul itself. Wang Lin's pulling grew faster, fiercer. His face twisted with ferocity. Celestial energy surged wildly through his meridians. Had he not reached the late stage of ascendant, his body would have collapsed beneath the strain. With every full circulation of energy, his strength soared. Time was life. Each passing breath magnified the danger. His eyes turned blood red as he unleashed another thunderous roar. His power reached its apex. With a deafening rumble, Wang Lin shot upward, dragging the colossal section of bone toward the surface. The celestial guard moved instantly. It streaked past Wang Lin toward the remaining half of the bone. Compared to Wang Lin, the guard at the illusory yin stage, and cultivating a technique akin to that of ancient gods, possessed far greater, brute strength. In a flash, it grasped the second section and pulled. The planet's tremors intensified. Thunder rolled as if 10,000 lightning bolts descended at once. The guard's body shone gold, tinged with red as it dragged the bone upward, following closely behind Wang Lin. Man and guardian each bore a section of the colossal spine. They tore through earth and stone, ascending with unstoppable momentum. At first, Wang Lin's speed was limited by resistance, but once momentum gathered, he accelerated wildly. The moon-gazer serpent roared. Tentacles exuded thicker crimson mist. Under mounting agony, it hastened its transformation into the third form. Yet the celestial ascension fruits slowed the process, muddling its awareness. Its immense body, vast beyond comprehension, struggled to pinpoint the origin of its suffering. Moreover, it was only half awake, lingering in a state of heavy drowsiness. Thus, the fruits exerted their greatest effect. With a final explosive surge, Wang Lin burst from the earth. The madness in his eyes intensified. He dragged the bone fully into the open air. The sound of its extraction shook the heavens. The grinding shriek of bone tearing free from flesh could have driven lesser cultivators insane. This half-section of bone was colossal, stretching endlessly like a mountain range. From afar it resembled a gigantic golden fire dragon writhing toward the sky. It was far too massive for a bag of holding. Wang Lin could only drag it upward with sheer force. Compared to the bone, his figure was minuscule, insignificant. At that very moment, the ground exploded once more. The celestial guard emerged bearing the second half. Together they ascended. Charge. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot. The circulation of celestial energy had exceeded his limits. Strands of power leaked from his pores, tearing at his flesh and causing searing pain. But such pain was trivial. Compared to obtaining the Moongazer serpent's bone, it was nothing. He knew, if he hesitated even a moment longer, all would be lost. The Moongazer serpent would never allow the thief of its spine to escape. If devoured, he would perish without question. Though the tentacles reached to entangle them, their movements were dulled by the celestial ascension fruits. Even so, the bone's immense size made it impossible to avoid all contact. Many tentacles wrapped around it. Without hesitation, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and produced the restriction flag. A trace of heartbreak flashed in his eyes, but there was no time for sentiment. He formed a seal and pointed. The flag trembled. A faint, sorrowful cry seemed to echo from it. For over 900 years, it had accompanied him, refined countless times, until a spark of spirit had formed within. That spirit understood. The cry transformed into resolute determination. The flag shattered. Its countless restrictions fused into a black meteor streaked with inner flame, crashing down upon the entangling tentacles. Its self-destruction exchanged for overwhelming power. A vast restriction materialized, imbued with spirit. A spirit born because of Wang Lin. A spirit extinguished for Wang Lin. Because it possessed spirit, the restriction unleashed boundless might. The tentacles slowed, yet the Moongazer serpent was too powerful. Even such sacrifice could only delay, not sever their grip. Wang Lin sighed inwardly, but did not hesitate. He pulled with ruthless resolve. The entangled bone tore free. He surged toward the sky, toward the fog layer. The celestial guard followed, dragging the second section free as well. Beyond that fog lay boundless space, freedom. But at that very moment, the planetary tremors reached their peak. A colossal fissure tore open across the earth. It yawned like a gigantic mouth. From its depths erupted a roar that shook heaven and earth. The sound struck Wang Lin like a hammer of divine wrath. His body trembled violently. The celestial spiritual energy within him collapsed chaotically. Agony flooded his face as he coughed up a mouthful of blood.